Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
And welcome into the Sunday Journal. I'm your host, Matt Pitta. Thanks for being with us today. We get together each week to talk about issues that are facing Cape Cod, the islands, and all of southeastern Massachusetts. We are on the road today again with the Sunday Journal. We love to come out on the road and tape some of our segments to kind of get out into the community and speak with folks that are involved with our topics. And today it's a great one. We're getting ready to launch the upcoming season, the 2015-2016 season of the Cape Symphony. This year's theme is called Me At The Symphony. And today we're actually down speaking with some of the principals with the Cape Symphony and Conservatory just before Pops in the Park is getting underway in Orleans. Jung-Ho Park is the artistic director and the conductor of the symphony, and Stephanie Weaver is the managing director of the Conservatory. Thanks to the both of you for giving me a few moments right before concert time here in Orleans as we speak. I appreciate your time today.
My pleasure. I've got to get into a tuxedo pretty soon, but it's my pleasure to be here.
Good to see you, Stephanie.
Great to be here. Thanks, Matt.
So as we conduct our interview today, as people are listening to us, you are getting ready just moments away from Pops in the Park. So the concert will have already happened by the time people have heard this. So I know it's going to be a great performance. Sheena Easton will have performed. A lot of people are looking forward to that, myself included. But of course, after that, Jung-Ho is the big next big announcement or big time for the symphony is coming up on the 19th and the 20th, which is the kickoff of the 2015-2016 season. So let's start there. Let's just do a bit of an overview of what's coming up for the upcoming season of the Cape Symphony.
Well, we're starting with two fabulous soloists. One is John Nakamatsu, the gold prize winner at the Van Cliburn piano competition several years ago. Cape audiences know him very well because he has a chamber music series in conjunction with his musical partner, John Manassi, clarinetist. So we decided to pair them together for the very first time with the Cape Symphony, and we commissioned this fantastic composer. His name's Gordon Goodwin, mainly known for jazz compositions, and so the piece is very jazzy but brilliantly scored as well. And so it's a dual concerto for the both of them, and then we're going to begin the concert with each one of them doing their own solo. So John Manassi is going to do the Debussy piece, Premier Rhapsody. John is going to do a piece by Chopin, I believe. And then the second half is going to be the Symphony No. 5 by Prokofiev. But, that's a killer way to begin the season. Then we have a Pops concert all around Judy Garland, the story behind Judy Garland, the music of Judy Garland, performed by this great Broadway actress named Sarah Uriarte Berry. And it's going to be a phenomenal experience. You feel like you're really there with Judy Garland. In November, we're doing a concert that takes us from Berlin to Hollywood. And I know it seems like a very odd connection, but you'll see it Vienna to Hollywood. And we'll be doing some music of Richard Strauss, which the orchestra loves to do. But we'll also be doing some film music, Eric Korngold, and even Star Wars, the overture Star Wars, which is just timed beautifully because Star Wars is coming out in December. And then we, of course, have our Pops concert that everyone loves, New Year's Day concert. January, we go to a different country every year, and this year we're going to Asia, all around the Asian Silk Road, from China, Japan, Korea. We've got these authentic performers performing on authentic Asian instruments. It's going to be very exotic, extremely beautiful evening. Then in February, we have this country hits concert, music from Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, but even contemporary hits today. So if you love country music, you'll love this concert. And then in April, an all Mozart concert, Mozart Symphony No. 41, his great Jupiter Symphony, and along with our soloist Jay Lee, who's our concert master, will be performing a violin concerto. And then we finish the season with one of the biggest pieces ever written in terms of popularity, and that's Symphony No. 9 by Beethoven, the choral fantasy, the choral symphony. We will also be doing slivers of the choral fantasy as well, but that's another story. But for people who've been dying and waiting for years for us to do Beethoven's Ninth, this is finally it, and it's going to be a great season.
It looks pretty aggressive. You have, these are all big shows, really, every single one of them. They always are, but these are some significant shows you're putting on this year.
Well, my strategy is basically every time you miss a concert, you're kicking yourself. You go, I can't believe I missed that. We're going to cancel our trip to Florida. We're going to stay on the Cape. And that's my goal each time, not to miss.
Now, I know that the planning process is, honestly, usually a couple of years in the making. Sometimes you actually booking these out, the individual performances, a year or so in advance. When you're looking at the year in its entirety, are you looking for an overall theme? Do you ever say, this year we're going to try to attack this type of genre we're going to go down this road, or do you look at each concert individually?
I look at each concert individually, but I try to make sure that each season is incredibly varied. I am a hopeless buffet attendee. I love to try a little bit of everything, and I think our audience is very much the same way. Even within a concert, Matt, I think you'll be in one century and then another century, you'll be in one genre and then another genre. I think that's what people like about the Cape Symphony, is that we just have tremendous variety.
I'm looking at some of the shows you referred to. I know obviously the Holiday Pops is always just an enormous concert, and over the years you've actually added some performances. It's so popular. It's
crazy. When I started, we had 3 Holiday Pops concerts. Now we're up to 6. But I got to tell you, my dream is that this juggernaut of a series grows to 8 and 10 and 12, and I can envision someday busloads of people from all over the region, tourists coming to the Cape just to see this show.
You could actually get several weeks of performances in, probably, or a couple of weeks in a row, right?
I would be my dream. Right now we just fill up one weekend, but I would love to fill up a month of holiday concerts.
We're going to come back to some of the shows, Jung-Ho. Let's bring Stephanie into the conversation. Stephanie Weaver is the managing director of the Conservatory. Sorry, Stephanie. So Jung-Ho is getting ready for his new season as well, and it's going to be a new fall season as well for the Conservatory. Let's talk about some of the things that are coming up from the Conservatory side.
Sure. Well, we've got a lot of exciting things coming up, but a few highlights. And since Jung-Ho and I are here together, I'll talk a little bit about the Youth Orchestra, which of course is one of the most beautiful bridges with this wonderful partnership with the Symphony and the Conservatory. And a couple of really exciting things happening. Lindsay Deutsch, who is a widely acclaimed concert violinist, performed with the Symphony a couple of years ago. Just thrilled our audiences here. She will be doing an artist in residency with our Youth Orchestra this fall and playing a solo with them and doing some master classes and things like that. We'll also be doing a mini tour, and the Youth Orchestra will be playing at the State House in Boston, which is really exciting. Hopefully leading into a larger tour, maybe somewhere even overseas at some point. And then probably the most exciting thing are the side-by-side rehearsals that we've started with the Cape Symphony. And the students actually come and rehearse some of the repertoire that they're actually performing with the Cape Symphony on stage. And the professionals coach them through the repertoire, and it's just really fantastic. But along with that, we've got the Children's Chorus, which is a Cape-wide chorus for children 8 to 14. We've got programs for every age and stage, I like to say. So, continuing the theme of variety, and we've got this wonderful slate of offerings for adults called the Bucket List, which are a series of entry-level introductory classes, piano, violin, guitar, ukulele, voice. So for people who just, think they could never do it, it's never too late.
It's been a few years now since the two organizations have formally merged, and one of the things I've watched is how you really could combine bringing the youth education and combining it in with the symphony. So let's stay with you, Stephanie, and talk about the importance of that, of how you're able to have this partnership with the symphony, the youth of the Cape, if you will, that you are bringing into the Conservatory, and how you can interweave that with the symphony.
Well, it's so incredible. This partnership is so incredibly exciting and inspiring, because it's Jung-Ho's and my dream, I know, to put music into the hands of every student on the Cape somehow in some capacity. And with the two organizations working together, we're able to leverage all of our strengths and make that happen. So we're doing programs in all of the schools. So we're in the classrooms at every grade, every level, with different types of programming. We've got the music memory concert, the young people's concert, music works every day. So we're touching all of those students in some way and just building upon that, and hopefully putting instruments and voice lessons into those kids' hands as well.
Talk a little bit about the importance of that. Unfortunately, we see a lot of times, when a town goes to a budget cut or something like that, arts culture tends to they go after that sometimes first. But I always like to ask, the professionals, those of you who are in this business, why it's important that not get lost in the overall education of the children on the Cape.
Oh, that's such a great question. I love this question because, as I've been working in this field over the years, I've realized that we really have a moral responsibility to keep these things alive as the funding becomes thinner and thinner and thinner in the public schools. So we have to be able to maintain access for the kids. It's crucial. It's critical to just creating great human beings. So.
It's almost like you're looking at your future musicians as they're coming up through the Conservatory. What do you like about that partnership, and what would you like to see more of as the two organizations move forward?
Well, not only future musicians, but future audiences as well. The reality is that most people studying will go on to become doctors, lawyers, or something else, and they come back and they see a synergy or a connection between the people on stage, and so that's very important. What I ultimately see with the Conservatory and the Symphony is that we become a completely smooth spectrum of experience of arts. I liken the symphony to kind of like the major league team. People want to aspire, but they want to pick up the bat when they're a kid, and they want to be just like Mike or something. And so we need to be as interesting, as entertaining, as valuable to the community so that people will actually be inspired to pick up an instrument. And, that whole cycle, we're one ecosystem together. There are a few orchestras that have this kind of relationship with the School of the Arts, but we are perhaps the most equal, the most unified that I know of.
If you're just joining us today on the Sunday Journal, we're actually doing our segment today down in Orleans right in advance of the Pops in the Park concert with the Cape Symphony, with Jung-Ho, the artistic director and conductor of the symphony, and Stephanie Weaver, the managing director of the Cape Conservatory. And we're getting ready for the opening of the new symphony season, the weekend of September 19th and 20th, and then going all the way through the early period of May with lots of concerts in between. Of course, if you'd like more information about the symphony, you can always go to capesymphony.org for more information. You've got the new concert, you've got the new season coming up, you've got all the new programs, and our good friend Jerry Carter has retired, and you have a new director coming in, so another big change, exciting days for the symphony.
We are absolutely thrilled. Stephanie and I and the entire team are excited about Roland Valliere joining us as the new CEO, and he comes to us with just a tremendous amount of experience working with symphony orchestras and helping them achieve their goals. And not only that, but he's also an entrepreneur as well. He actually left the business to pursue this dream to put in the hands of audiences something called the Concert Companion. The Concert Companion is a device that audiences would sit and learn about the music as it's going on. It was way ahead of its time. So he thinks outside the box, and that's exactly the way that Stephanie and I are doing. We know that there's going to be a revolution in the arts, and we needed to find that third partner from the administrative side, and Roland is the dream come true.
Now, I know that as you were making that transition, it was very important to pick the right person to take the symphony to even the next level you want to go to.
That's absolutely right. I mean, entertainment and education is changing rapidly as we're speaking. It's either frightening or it's exhilarating, one of the two. The way that people are getting information and entertainment off internet, Netflix, their iPhone, their iPads, we have to be right there. We have to evolve as entertainment. And yes, we are arts as well, and we are about inspiration and beauty and virtuosity, but we also, in order to appeal to a broader audience, need the kind of person like Roland who can help make our revolutionary vision come true.
Stephanie, let's talk about Roland, your thoughts as he takes over. I think officially the first week of November, I believe, is his official start time. But how do you see him integrating with the conservatory?
Well, I think the first thing that really struck me about Roland was his great passion for this partnership and his just the synergy that he feels with the vision that we've created so far. His experience combined with that energy and, as Jung-Ho said, his entrepreneurship, which is just something that's so critical in this day and age to maintain and sustain what we're doing. I'm just really excited about working with him.
I know when I was reading through the introduction that was sent out from the symphony through the press materials and the interview that we did with him as well on our stations, is he talked a lot about really wanting to move forward with this project about a facility for the symphony. So let's talk about that. And what Jung-Ho is, if you can see us right now, he gets very animated, very excited about that concept, right?
Yeah, it reminded me of my puppy that wants to get outside, and jumping all around. Absolutely. I mean, Roland understands that we need to have a new facility to present art in a way for that 21st century audiences can understand and relate to. Right now we're at the Barnstable High School, which is pleasant and nice, but even they would like to have more of a footprint during their schedule. So it's time for both of us to get the proper location, the proper schedule that we need. And when I talk to Roland about this, he envisions something that will blow your mind in terms of what an orchestra, what any youth orchestra as well could perform in. It'll be like a rock concert meets a classical environment in terms of the intimacy and the immediacy and the energy.
Stephanie, this is something that would be important as well, you believe, for the conservatory to have this type of new facility?
Absolutely. The conservatory facilities are in need of renovation, expansion. We've actually completely outgrown the West Barnstable campus at this point. So Roland's got a wonderful strategic planning background as well. So putting this all into the context with the Performing Arts Center is going to be critical as we move forward.
All right, so he'll take over in early November. The symphony season will be well underway at that point. Take us through the next several months, Jung-Ho, and then Stephanie with you in terms of what we can expect. We went through the concerts, but just kind of review what we can expect from the symphony, some of the highlights.
Roland will join us officially in November, but in the meantime, we have a interim CEO, Robert Barker, who's also a board member, has been doing a fantastic job. But still, right now with Roland, we've hit the ground running. We're planning 2016-2017 in terms of the season. He's very excited about the ideas that we have, and I'm excited that he's excited. We have some major plans for the organization as a whole to evolve, and I can't give them away right now, but I think they'll all be very clear to our audience, to our customers, and to the community as a whole. If you've never been to the Symphony and the Conservatory, I think over the next 2 years even, you're going to really sense our presence in your life.
Stephanie?
Absolutely, I agree with everything that Jung-Ho said, and we'll be moving forward with that strategic vision that I talked about earlier with the Conservatory and facilities, and planning artistically the things that we can build with more synergy between the two sides of the organization.
Finally, the theme this year is Meet Me, and I know that you're encouraging people to meet the artists, meet the performers. So about 60 seconds about the theme Meet Me this year.
Well, it's really to defrock this perception, this incorrect perception that the symphony is something that is elitist or formal. If you know me, I'm very, I think I'm pretty friendly and pretty open, and same thing with Stephanie as well in the Conservatory. The whole Meet Me idea is to get people to get over any kind of preconception and to come visit us, come to the symphony, come visit the Conservatory, take a class, come see a concert. I think you'll be shocked on how much fun it is and how excited everyone is. I mean, that's the one emotion that we get when people leave the symphony. It's this incredible amount of smiles and a buzz in the air. The reason we're growing is because people love us. It's not just the quality, because people are talking about us.
We're going to let you get to work. As we said, our taping today was done right in advance of Pops in the Park, and we will see you at the symphony over the next several weeks and months. Jung-Ho Park and Stephanie Weaver, thank you so much. Have a great season. We'll see you out there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for being with us today. On the Sunday Journal, I'm your host, Matt Pitt.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.